Coach, the game got a little chippy for only the second game in the season. Their coach just said a player broke a hand. Obviously, Sam got hit in the face with the ball. Avery took an elbow to the chest. A little early for that. Does this happen sometimes with your teams because you frustrate opponents so much?
Yeah, it is a little early. You don't normally see it this early. Sometimes you see it in conference play or when someone's season is on the line. But yeah, I mean, if they're frustrated, and sometimes you have that.
UT Martin coach in there said he felt like they controlled the pace for a lot of the game. Do you agree? And how did their full court press maybe slow down your offense more than you wanted it to at times?
Yeah, I don't necessarily know. We took 84 shots, so we got the shots up. We just didn't hit them. But I do think they did a decent job controlling the pace. I mean, they burned all their timeouts. We fouled a ridiculous amount, and so that slowed it down again. So it was not the pace we necessarily wanted, and I think they did a really good job in the half court of just kind of frustrating our offense. And so it was something good for us to see and something good for us to learn from.
Coach, 9 for 39 from three. How much of that was not getting looks you wanted, and how much of that was getting good looks and just not making them?
I have to go back and watch the film. I felt like we had a lot of good looks. I do think that we just had a lot of bad passes out, and they were short, and we just weren't hitting them. And that's where the offensive rebounds come into play. And so a lot of that is us just not being sharp, but a lot of that is them just being good on the defensive end.
Cora, and then Caleb.
Ruby was talking about the next play mentality and how that's kind of allowed her to, thrive. And it's one thing to say that to your players, right? But it's one thing to really see it consistently. And Jewel said the system kind of forces you almost to focus on next play. Just how have you seen the team embrace that, and how do you go about really getting them to understand that?
Yeah, I think it takes time for them to realize that we're playing basketball differently than they have. They're getting more possessions, so one mistake doesn't really matter, so shake it off. And I can hear them on the bench saying next play to each other, which is big.
How would you assess your half-court offense tonight? Did you see growth from Tuesday's game to tonight?
No, I didn't see growth in the half-court offense or the half-court defense.
Felt like UT Martin was making, strides in transition, getting some shots up. Where did you see that the breakdowns were happening in transition defense, and what do you really want them to focus on to clean that up?
Yeah, we talked about it after the game. We have to do a better job of making in-game adjustments. So some of our press rotations were a little bit off at the top, and when our press rotations are off at the top, it's going to lead to back-end buckets. And I'll live with those, but I'm not going to live with just not sitting down in the half court and guarding.
Coach, Alyssa Latham's stat line may not jump out, 6 points, 4 rebounds, to be somebody we often ask about, but she is, the best word I can use to describe it is an aggressive rebounder. How high is her ceiling on the glass?
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. And she will just go in there and she will yank it down. She has great hands. She's athletic. She was really good in the top of our press tonight, too. So I 100% agree with you. She made a lot of things happen that didn't show up as far as deflections, tips, just little things that helped us get the ball back.
Ruby's another one who really was crashing on the glass tonight. Just what do you think that other players could learn from her, especially with offensive rebounding?
Yeah, I'm sure Ruby was not pleased with her first quarter, and then you know what she decided to do? I'm going to go get offensive rebound putbacks. It's not that hard, right? There's a lot of ways to score in this program. You can run in transition, you can get steals and you can score, or you can go get offensive rebound putbacks. And she had a double-double at halftime just by doing that. I mean, I think she had 2 shots or she created for herself. Other than that, it was just because her effort gave her some points.
Coach, 21 fouls, having 4 players pick up 2 fouls in the first half. How much does having a shorter bench to work with affect your system with how much you sub?
It does, but it's something we're going to have to get used to. We're going to see it again, and we're going to have our point guards or best players get in foul trouble, and we have to learn how to play without them. They have to learn this lesson about the fouls. They don't listen to us in practice. They don't think we're calling them right. They have to listen. They have to figure it out, and by getting benched, hopefully that teaches them that lesson.
Kanaya Boyd got her first 3 tonight. How close is she to just really clicking on all cylinders?
Yeah, I think it's going to take everyone a little bit of time, especially as a freshman, but she has a huge ceiling as well, just like Alyssa and a couple others, where I give her a couple months and hopefully she's a different player.
Z only had 2 shots tonight. Just why do you feel like the team struggled maybe to get her touches, or was UT Martin kind of just making that an emphasis to not get her the ball after her performance Tuesday? Just what did you kind of see there with her?
Yeah, I have to go back and watch the film. I did notice she hadn't taken a field goal attempt at halftime, but they did such a good job of collapsing in, and she's in a lot, and so I think it was hard for us to get those passes off to her inside. She did a better job, though, too, of just having a better second half.
You mentioned before the season that starting lineup was going to be based off of production. What did you see about Kanaya on Tuesday that gave her that spot tonight?
Yeah, just based off her stat line, we had a couple people that didn't practice, so she moved right up in that.
How would you assess Sarah's performance from today to Tuesday? And then also, it just seems like she's really trying to get her confidence back. How do you, as a coach, help maintain that and help her to maintain that next play mentality?
Yeah, I think it's big. I think you treat her the same no matter what, whether she plays great or doesn't, and you just coach consistently. And it's just so funny this time of year, right? Like, you have some people that'll have 29, 25, and some people have 0, and it's just not what it's going to be. And when you're coaching young females, sometimes they get so caught up in one game, especially early in the year, and it's going to shake itself out, and you're going to be who you're going to be, and you are going to be who you are in practice. That's why practice is so important.
You've kind of, repeated to us, I'm sure you preached to the team that it's not going to be pretty and they just have to tough it out. What's that like in games when maybe they're having a tough quarter and things just aren't working in the half court on offense, or, the press isn't gelling how they want it to? Just what's the in-game coaching look like for you to kind of keep them, on the right track in-game?
Yeah, I think that's something they just have to figure out. And we talk about energy, we talk about effort, and we talk about how that can change the momentum of a game. And I think they understand these things. It just is going to take them. They're going to have to see it click, and they're going to have to see it fail before they have like this whole vision of what I am trying to tell them, because I can only tell them so much until they experience it.
Ruby mentioned that sometimes they're a little late to recognizing their mistakes until like they can get together and talk about it. What do you think it'll take from the team to maybe notice it as it's happening so they can adjust a little quicker?
Yeah, I think just the more opportunity you get to play somebody other than yourself, you see more scenarios, you see more zone, you see different offense, you see these things, and then you'll hit a point in your season where you've seen almost everything, and they should know how to adjust on the fly.
I know the players would never acknowledge it, and you wouldn't use it as an excuse, but the one day in between, it's sort of like an NCAA tournament format. You mentioned a lot of the shots were a little short. Mm-hmm. Do you think that could be a legs thing sometimes from the fast turnaround, and how much does this team kind of need a day off to just sort of get reset?
Yeah, that's always in my mind, but we also had a really bad practice yesterday, and we had a really bad shoot around. So it's all kind of goes together of like you are how you prepare. And again, it's just another learning lesson for us.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.